Okay, always checking. So this way, if you miss part of it, you can come back to it, or if something seems confusing, you can come back to it. Okay. Um, so everyone should be able to log in, but let's take care of some other work first, which is making sure that we understand some of the basics, okay? So some of those basics are, what an IV, a DV, and a covariate is, and what the levels of measurement are. So um, that's something that we should talk about. If anybody really needs to see that, just do me a favor, put that into the Q&A, and just communicate that to Melissa or to Ashley, who is our able colleagues here. And if nobody needs that, I'm going to go right on. Then we'll talk about creating an account, setting up data if you have data. If you don't have data, no problem. We have a lot of example data sets. And then we'll conduct some basic analyses or use one of someone's data that you've shared with me. And then I'll show you how to download that and edit that, and then open up to questions and answers. Is there any other housekeeping things I need to talk about, Melissa?
Just a reminder that we'll send everyone the video of this after, so you'll get it today. And you'll have that login link through the end of the day, so you can rewatch this, go back in and follow along.
Great.
And then just if anyone wants to go over level of measurement, no one's put anything in the Q&A yet, maybe just raise your hand or something and let us know, and we'll be sure to cover that. If not,
yeah, if it would, yeah, I'll save folks time. So if anybody, what Melissa just said, if people want to see it, communicate that levels of measurement or what an IV and DV are, and just give a second for that. Also, I'd be interested in hearing what your current challenges are, and to put those into the Q&A too. Well, I'm having trouble managing data, or understanding some output, or choosing the right plot, or whatever those concerns are. That can help preload some of these question and answers down the road. How are we doing with the Q&A there?
I don't have any hands raised, so I think you
Okay.
can go straight to the analysis piece.
I'm gonna get right to it then. Okay. So let's go here. Okay. So I may be in a different data set because I'm sure somebody shared something with me. Let's see here. 360. Log in there. Okay, so here. Oh, doing that again. Yeah, someone shared over here. So, okay, so let's get started. So to get data in, so it's web-based, it's inexpensive, and it's got tons of support built in. But let me just highlight some of these, a few of these things. So first things first is to get data in, and that happens in the Projects tab. And data can come in 4 ways. I can upload data from different file formats. Okay. I can use an example data set, and it's just very simple to use. And if I have these things in order, I can just select a data set, create it with the project, and voila, the data is in there. Third, I can just enter or paste a flat file in there, like an Excel file. And basically, we just need 1 row of headers, which is the name of the variable, and then the actual data underneath. I know in SurveyMonkey and Qualtrics, they have all these layers of the variable name, the question, the levels of measurement, and so forth. We just need that data, the level of measurement, and then the data underneath there. Okay. And then the fourth way is actually sharing data. So by just clicking that little share button, put in colleagues or students or others' email addresses, and then you'll be able to share. And in fact, this individual shared, I believe. So somebody at Wayne, and just accept. And the advantage of this is that, let me see here, where is it? So the advantage is that anything that we do is now sitting on the side of of you, the owner of that data. So any analyses that we do and so forth. So, we have a blank slate here. So once we have the data loaded, and then we can look at it real quick. These sessions are good, but they're not good for doing a lot of data cleaning. But it might just be that all of these things are in one scale. So, okay. So for folks that want to follow along, let's just go ahead and take a moment to upload your data for those that want to. And, whether it's an Excel CSV. Okay, so just upload you can just click on it, choose the file, okay, select the file, and then just upload that file. So let's just see if folks can do that. Let me just do this, and let me go ahead, and for those that do not have data, and just to kind of keep everybody on the same page, and I'll seek to get to you, GN 1621. Okay, so but just go ahead to the masterclass data set. Okay, click on that for those that want to follow along, and then create project with this data set, and you should have that data there.
And we have a few people, if you can just go back to the projects. There's a few people that are having trouble. So when you first log in, if you've never been in this tool before, you won't have anything in the projects, okay? And you're just gonna click at the top, create a project, either upload the data file or choose an example. If
That's
you
right.
are seeing a payment page, you are not logged in, I believe, to the right place. Let me just double check. I put the link in the chat. 1 second. I'm gonna make sure that
Everyone's got the right link.
yeah,
Okay.
I believe it is, but I'm gonna double check.
And I appreciate some of these questions coming in too. Biggest challenge is setting up the specifiers for certain analyses. What you mean by specifiers is setting up the data, I assume, or the levels of measurement. I'm not sure. Current challenge ensuring the assumptions have been met. So one of the things that happens is that when we do analyses, the assumptions are all built into the test. So if you're doing a t-test, the assumptions of homogeneity variance is built in and then interpreted. So that's one of the things that we've streamlined with this tool, is that assumption business. And then creating the write-up. So you'll see the results are actually in plain English prose, interpreted with APA tables and figures. So it says need to pick a project.
I'm gonna apologize to everyone. I didn't have the link enabled. You should just click refresh. You should be able to see the projects page.
So refreshes up here, right?
It depends on your browser.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And please let me know that you can log in and you're not seeing the payment page. You should see that now.
All right. And then, so we'll give everyone just another moment, or apologies. And then you should be able to go to the upload your data. Okay. By the way, when you upload data, you're going to get to a data cleaning wizard. Let me get that real quick. Let's see if I have a data set just kicking around here. That's not cancel. I think it was in. Go back.
And then for those of you that weren't able to get in and upload your data before, if you want to share it with Dr. Laney, I'll put his email in the chat and we'll show you how to share too.
Right. So in terms of uploading from a different file formats, let's just walk through that. So I'm selecting CSV and then selecting the data set. Okay, and click open. There's that file, then I'm gonna upload that file. For the purpose of this, well, maybe I'll go there. There's a data cleaning wizard that happens, which is really getting rid of those multiple headers I was referring to. So we just need the variable name and then the data underneath. Update variable names. So let's just see if I can get this in here. So let me quit that for a second. So let me upload data just to kind of walk you through that data cleaning wizard. Where is this? Nope. Am I gonna be able to get there quick enough? That's my question. I closed it. Hang in there with me. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay, so desktop. So let me just upload this data file. This is useful. So here's the data cleaning wizard, just to show you this is what we have to begin with. And this is kind of typical of data, which is you have some demographic variables, you have some research, some just items about different questions, and then maybe open-ended. Okay, so that's what we're starting with, and you got a couple of layers here. So what we're going to let me just go and accomplish what we need to accomplish here. So first thing I'm going to do is just go to next. So again, to get rid of those rows of headers, just click on them, apply the changes. So it dumps those out. Go to next. Edit variable names. This happened to be age group. Okay, and then this is gender. Okay. All right. Apply changes and go to next. By the way, if you had very long names here, sometimes the whole question's in there. That would be the time to change that, perhaps. Okay. All right. So let's go to next. So here we're really looking for variables, labels that are misspelled. Sometimes you have male with a capital M and male with a small m, but we all mean male. Here we have disagree with 3 E's and 2 E's. So I'm just going to basically merge them. And that's what it looked like before. And that's what the levels look like after. And apply changes. I'm going to do that one more time with K post 4, before and after. Apply changes. And that's it. No more misspellings. Let's carry on. I do have Likert type data. So basically what can happen here is that I have a 5-point agreement scale. And I have labels like that. Okay, and I want to turn them into numbers. Well, why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that because I want to get an average score of my pre-test. Then I want to get an average for my post-test. And I can't do that with strongly disagree and agree. I need numbers. So that's why I need to change those labels into numbers. When you download from Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey, these other ones, you'll want to download it in numeric condensed. So it's going to already put it in these numbers, but there's a fair enough of data sets coming through, which are purely just labels. So hence the opportunity to change in one fell swoop, change those 8 variables from that into that. Okay, great. And then I'm going to go to next. Then I'm going to create subscales. Here, you know, most surveys, quantitative surveys, have different items that create subscales. So I'm just kind of identifying the pretest. I'm going to average the scores of my pretest items. And then one of the items is reverse coded, which just simply means, excuse me, which just simply means that the question was asked in reverse. This is helpful that you don't just get response sets and people just saying agree all the way down. You can look at it in terms of reliability and validity. So reverse coding has some productive features to it. So I am creating a pretest subscale. I'm going to be averaging these 4 items with a reverse code of K2 pre, and it has to know how to flip it. And my values are 1 to 5, apply changes. I'm going to add another subscale. You'll notice pretest has been added. This is what we're going to call post-test. I'm also going to average. I'm going to identify my post-test items. Oops. Over here. And I'm going to reverse code my K2. I'm going to put in my values and apply changes. Okay, great. That's it. No more subscales. Go to next. And then add a identifier. That's not so bad. Basically, if you have a 55 sitting there, you're going to want to know that's individual number 1. Okay, and go check that person's data to make sure it's accurate. So putting in an ID variable doesn't hurt anybody. And then we're finished. So what we've done is we've turned this, okay, into a nice clean data set with age groups. I can massage that a little bit more by making it ordinal. And this is, you know, 30 to 39. This is 40 to 49. Oops. Excuse me. 40 to 49 and 50 to 59 and then 60 plus. Okay, I'm going to put that in the same variable. So now we have a clean data set, right? So I have age groups, I have gender, I have my initial data here. I do have an open-ended question, which would ask folks about leadership. And then I have my pre-test and post-test data. All right. And then under the data management, you could do other basic tasks as well. Like do some of the, like impute missing data, for example. Transform data, for example, if I wanted to get pre-test and post-test, but I wanted to perhaps, actually, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to bin data. So pre-test and post-test to bin data, excuse me. And I want to say, well, I want to categorize this into high and low, and maybe, you know, 3 is my cut score. So I can say who are the folks at a low, who are the folks at a high. So that can be done as well. Transformation is where I was, which is if some data is skewed like that you may want to try a transformation to make it look more normal. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it doesn't work, but the effort is to see what you could do to make it look more normal. And I've not been successful here, obviously. So, okay, but just to know that transformation is there. The beauty is that you can see the impact of that transformation type immediately and just eyeball it to say, that didn't help, okay? Or, hey, it did help. All right. The one cool thing, well, there's a couple cool things, but one additional cool thing is when you have open-ended questions, and if you have, 20 items, you can kind of just go through it. But what we've added is a text classification. So what this does is that it's going to use AI, and it's going to use statistical analysis to really come and bucket those responses into, in this case, interpersonal communication skills, strategic thinking skills, transformational leadership, and then values and cultural development. So now I can use those buckets based on their qualitative responses to interact with the other ones. The more males and females have different ideas about leadership. Are there differences on these pre-test or post-test scores by different buckets of leadership and so forth? So that's enormously helpful, particularly if you have 320 responses. That can get a little bit difficult and challenging to keep organized. Okay. This is also important here, that download data. So, because I've created buckets here and I've created new variables here, I want all of that. So when I download that data, okay, my downloaded data somewhere, my downloaded data have these new variables here. Right? So that's important to have that, to have your data set, your most recent data set or managed data set there. We have lots of different types of plots, typical scatter plot, histogram. Profile plots are really helpful because you can see what these continuous variables look like by different grouping variables, like gender, for example. And you can kind of see, hey, gosh, looks like males and females perhaps differed at pre-test. Both their scores decreased at post-test, and about the same too. So that's something to know, right? And overall, we can see that as a group, that folks just decreased their scores at post-test. So lots of different types of plotting options. And then the analysis. So it's a pretty robust tool in terms of the breadth of analyses, really going from simple descriptives, correlations, t-tests, to more advanced analyses like structural equation modeling and mediation and moderation and so forth. So there's a wide range of tests. Now, you might come, as people have, and say, I got the data in, check. I plotted the data, great. I don't know what test to use, okay? That's a very common thing. So if you're asking yourself that question, you're in good company. We've added a decision tree for lay people to kind of assist with that. So the traditional way is kind of walking along these branches of saying I have differences and how many DVs and covariates or not, and get to the tests over here. But we also have a shorthand of saying, well, I want to predict an outcome at scale. I'm doing a linear regression. Well, how about if I wanted to predict an outcome and the outcome measure was ordinal? Well, I'm doing ordinal logistic regression and so forth. So, so you can play around with this. You can't break it, and just go through each one of these things and get some fluidity with, what type of tests I should be running. And the decision tree tab will help you do that. So before I jump over to folks that shared their data, let's just run a couple quick things. So descriptives, all I do is select the test, select the variables of interest, which would be my 2 demographics and my 2 composite scores, and then how my open-ended was bucketed. That's really all I need. For all these things, you select the test, you put in the variables and hit calculate. And this is our output. So you can see in the APA table, we have, most people are 60 plus, 10 males, 10 females, and most of the folks were bucketed into transformational leadership in their open-ended response. This write-up is starting to describe what's in that table. So this is giving you a draft of this, okay? For the scale variables, we're giving basic mean standard deviations. You have helpful scrollovers, APA table, and then a description of what's in that table. I should note that for each of these dialog boxes, there's two important things here. One is the video tutorial. So all of these dialog boxes will have a quick 30-second or 3-minute video tutorial of that. That's one thing. The other thing, catty corner, is the options. To know that you can have different options in many of these different tests. So just to state that. All right, and let's just do a t-test, for example, since I do have, pre-test and post-test. Okay, so again, I am doing the simple task of selecting the test, putting the variables in, and then hitting calculate. And here, for the individual that asked about the assumption is built in. So there's kind of two use cases here. So let's just go down the path of faculty or students are doing research. Great. Here's the assumption of normality. It identifies the test, it runs the test, and interprets the test. The results of the t-test was significant. There's a draft of how one might write that. The APA table, we can see that there are differences, that the post-test was lower than a pre-test. We saw that from the graph. And we have the interpretation built in a plain English. And this is how it comes out in English prose. And then an appropriate bar plot, okay? Showing that the post-test had lower averages than the pre-test. We've also, and I've also, in my preferences, have enabled, I think it's the default, which is if an assumption is violated, okay, to run the non-parametric test, that is a test that looks at pre-post differences, okay, without that assumption. And here we can see that the Wilcoxon was significant as well. We have an interpretation of this, and we have a scroll over as well. Okay, and then I can just go download that document. And if I open it up, and this is what the document looks like when it's downloaded. My results. Pardon me. This is my demographics. This is my scale variables. Okay. And then here's my t-test result with tables and figures, my Wilcoxon. APA style references for all the in-text citations, and then a curated glossary. And the glossary has the terms and the symbols for the different aspects that are in those tests. Now, I said there's two use cases. One is for faculty and students and researchers doing research. I have to give you a warning that a lot of this is templatized. So this statement has been published with Turnitin. Okay. This has been published with Turnitin. So the numbers are going to be different, but you have to know that when you're using this for research, whether it's for any kind of research, you have to put this in your own voice. And I think Copilot can probably do it right here. I don't know if I highlight. I haven't used Copilot. Typically put it into chat, but let's just see what happens. So auto write, what does that do for me? Okay, so here, so here is a draft of or rewording of that paragraph, okay? With a click of a button. Okay, and giving you 3 options in which to do that. That's pretty darn cool. By the way, this is only 25 bucks a month, something of that sort. So just to know, hey, to get 3 drafts in 2 seconds, re-edits. So, okay. All right, that's the research use case. Let's just do the class use case, and then we'll get to folks' projects. Or you can share your project, and then we can talk about it. So for the in-class use case, I would, one way to do this is to have students run a pair t-test, show them what an assumption, how it can be analyzed, how to write up, they have to learn to write somewhere, how to write up that result, what goes in an APA table, and how to make a plot. Okay, so that would be round 1. Then I would go back to the example data sets and select an example data set that I can practice another pair t-test, another example. So use example data sets. Then I would perhaps only present to students just the raw output and have them practice. Maybe email everybody the raw output and say, write it up. Let them write it up. Then you can share, well, I used the masterclass data set. I used, K1 pre and K2 post, and then they can validate their own, how they're doing, okay, with the interpreted output. So that's another way of kind of doing that. I should also state that we also, with this learning aspect, that we do offer a 65 lessons of very simple, here's what the test is used for, this is the different assumptions and the write-up, and then moving into the executing of it. 60 lessons, dirt cheap, like $5 more than the tool. Goes behind LMSs and so forth. So, and then you can get a flavor of the lessons, and you just say, I want these 15 out of the 65. There was also, we spoke with someone this morning that were using these as a lab. So they had a textbook. I think they were mandated to use it. They're using the textbook, a stats textbook for undergrads, but it was attached to a lab. So this might be a helpful way of just using it as a lab. So just to give you that. Okay. So now let's get to folks' project and see what we can do here.
Can you quickly, before you do that, just show the decision tree one more time? We had a quick question about where that was and how to use it. And then if you've shared your project while he's doing that, please raise your hand. And when we'll unmute you when we open it, when we go to yours.
I don't see anybody else's except for GN, but
Oh,
okay. So the project is for uploading data. The management is to manage data. Plots is to plot data. Analysis is to analyze. The decision tree is to figure out, to decide which analysis. So it's under decision tree. And again, you can walk through these branches, or you can simply select some of this user-friendly layperson language. Okay. and to navigate across to particular tests. Okay. I'll also mention, so, and let's just do the pair t-test one. It does require that you know levels of measurement and what an IV and DV is, but let's just see if I want to explore differences between groups. I want to explore differences over time. That's what I want to do. I have one DV. They're not divided into groups. There's no covariates, and I only have 2 time points. So I'm doing a pair t-test, or if the assumption was violated, it will Coxon. And then you can just jump right into it. All right, so I'll also mention that there's data plan templates, which you can download, and edit here. There's a power analysis to figure out what the sample size should be in a very quick way. And then, of course, I'll put a plugin for consulting that there's different types of consulting if it comes around. Typically, this is the good option of, share your project. Let's make sure they're managed well, plotted well, analyzed, and you understand it. So that can often happen with clean data very quickly. Okay. So let's get back to GN and see what GN has to say. Hi, GN.
Theo, is that your project? And you can unmute.
Yes, that's my project.
Hi, what's your name?
Theo Ressa.
What is it?
Theo as in Theo.
Theo.
Yes.
Oh, Theo, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't there be some grand Greek name that go with this or something like this?
Oh yeah, it's in full. It's Theodoto, but most Americans find that name so long, so they said, "Why don't you go by Theo?" So nowadays, I just go by Theo.
Are you in fact Greek?
Yeah.
Perfect. I see. We got you. All right. Terrific. All right. So let's just clean up the data a little bit here. So if you have your survey nearby, we can move through this, okay?
Okay.
So age range, typically this is an age group, right?
Right.
So let's just go to ordinal, okay? And oh boy, okay. So we have people in group 1, 2, 3, no 4s, and then 5, and then these guys. So let me ask you, let's just do this. Do you know what the age levels are that are identified as level 1? Do you know what their age range is or no?
I do if I look at my original.
Well, you would just put it in there. Let me just say that, okay?
Okay.
All right. So you're just gonna literally put in, whatever the age range is, okay? Blah, 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 okay? All right, and so forth. These you probably want to delete. They seem wrong, okay? So, you have a nice sample size here, but I don't think I would fuss with these people or go back to their data and say, what is your age? Okay. So just going through and saying, and understanding that, I'll say it's ordinal for the moment, but because it needs to be ordinal. Okay. And then, participation, and this is probably like a nominal yes or no, or no. What is this?
Participation in education program. Yeah, that was either yes or no.
Okay. So again, you're going to want to go back in here
Mm-hmm.
and fix these, okay?
Can I upload the original data? Because I was using the video just to see if I can change all those whatever into numericals. I was watching the video.
Well, you probably want nominal here. You probably don't want numbers. You probably want unless it's levels of participation, but I think the point is that you want to clean up your data and get the right level of measurement. Okay.
Mhm.
And what this is, maybe you only have 1, 2, and 3s. These other guys need to go bye-bye and delete. And then put the label in. Participated, yes. Participated half the time. Didn't participate, or whatever that is, okay?
Okay.
So that has to happen. All right. Same with degree area. This is nominal, okay? You'll want to put in the degree area, all right?
Mhm.
Gender, the same thing. You're gonna want to put in, what 1 is, what 2 is, and get rid of these other folks here, probably, okay? Same thing, same thing, same thing. All right, so let's hear one of your research questions. By the way, so let's just one second here. So these things look like, when you get here, all of these things on a 1 to scale, a scale from 1 to 10, correct?
Uh,
Well, no.
uh, living situation.
Oh, this is not, maybe not. Okay, sorry. So these are still demographics.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so you'll want, okay, so here's question 1.
So those are on a scale. The first one, there are two parts of that question. So can you move to your left? That's the first question. So the first question is on a scale to 5.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
the second portion of the second question, or of the first question, is on a scale to 2.
Okay,
The first question is on a scale to 5 on
I
do
see.
you agree,
And then 1 to 2.
agree. And then the second, how big was the problem? Is it a big problem or little problem?
All right, okay. And what does a 1 mean, and what does a 2 mean?
Uh, you know what? I sent you the data key, but I can look it up.
Sorry.
No,
I
that's
need you
okay.
to have fluidity with it too. I need help.
Yeah, sure. Makes
Melissa says that every day. You said you need help. And here I am. I need help. So we don't have to do it, but I guess the point is that, again, you want to change those to nominal, but if you can get me that real quick, I'm going to show you a good trick.
so okay, 1 was strongly agree, strongly disagree, and then 5 was strongly agree.
Okay.
3
All
was
right.
3 was neutral.
Got it. Okay. So let me ask you, were there any reverse coded items?
No.
Okay, great. So let's just do 2 tricks. So 1 is the variable calculator. Okay. And then what is the name of the scale?
Could you give me example?
When we add all of these items together, what's the construct name? What do all of these items measure?
Oh, they are measuring access, inclusion, and belonging.
Okay. I'm going to call it access. Okay. Okay. Inclusion, belonging. Okay. So I can get, and are we averaging these items? That is mean composite, or are we summing these items? So typically, the authors of the instrument are going to tell you how to do that. And there's advantages to each one of these things. The advantages of the mean is that I know when I get a 4 that overall people agreed, okay?
Okay.
So I understand 1 to 5. So that's a good reason to use the mean composite. The sum composite is good for, how many items do you have? 10? How many items? How many items total that we're averaging? How many of these 1 to 5 items are there, Theo?
That's is it 17? I want to believe.
17, okay. All right. So if I have a score from 17, or 17 times 5 is 50, 85, okay? So from 17 to 85, okay, I might have a cut score of 50. And these people were low on access, inclusion, and belonging. These people were high. So that's a good reason to have a sum score. And the authors will typically tell you. Do you happen to know what these authors wanted with respect to either a mean or a sum? And you can run these later too, by the way.
Okay.
But just know that there's reasons to do either one of them. For the heck of it, we're going to do mean composite. Okay. So the mean composite is really these x's. So x1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Theo, when I'm looking for this, tell me about the ones and the twos if they're big problems, yes or no, okay? Is the one a yes? Or is the one a no? So I want to know what the labels are for the ones and the twos, okay?
Okay.
All right, in the meantime, I'm going to be grabbing these 17 items. All right, 11. You said there was 17. Is it possible there's just 12?
Yeah, there's possible. I was counting that, including the based on the ones that you've omitted, the two scale ones.
Okay, I say, yeah, we want to keep them separate. So basically, we want a mean composite. So we have all of these things, okay? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, divided by 12, so we know that looks pretty good, all right? So, and then just submit. So what that's done is it's created us a new variable over here, okay? All right, now with regard to these other guys, okay, with this big problem, yes or no, do we know what the ones and the twos mean?
Yes. So one is big problem, two is little problem.
Okay, so the trick is that we're going to recode multiple. And we're going to get into this based on this one. Okay, what we're doing is we're going to nominal. So under recode multiple, we're changing the level from the scale 1 and 2 to a nominal big and little problems, okay? So so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so now we have our items identified. We're going to nominal. They're going to say, okay, so here you have a problem. Problem is you have 1 equals big and 2 means little. Well, obviously you got a lot of numbers in here. So these things have to be cleaned up. All right. I mean, I may not have selected this right, but basically, you know, for these 1s and 2s, maybe there's just one of them that had something funky. Because these do look like 1s and 2s. But somebody's in there with us with this. Okay. That's messing you up. It's messing us up. Because they should be 1 or 2, not 3.12, right?
I think the lower part, I think I was trying to calculate the mean and the SD on my own.
Yeah, you gotta, when you upload data, you gotta upload just the data.
Okay, I see.
Just the data.
Okay.
We don't, you know, that's something though, because we say we don't need 2 rows of headers, but then also we don't need any summary values down below. So really, what you're saying is that I need to go here to edit data. Then I need to delete these rows, okay?
Those ones I was calculating.
Yeah, remove rows, okay. So now that's probably gonna help us. All right, so now let's just go back to recode multiple. And then we're gonna go back to 1, 2, 3. Okay, selecting the 12. I have to select level of measurement as nominal. Perfect. Now I can put in big problems. Okay.
Okay, so I should not upload calculated SD.
No, because you could do it in 2 seconds in the tool.
Okay.
Are we gonna have a need to sum up how many big problems or little problems or no? Are they
Yes.
at the item level, or are you gonna want to look at, Joe has got 10 big problems and 2 little problems?
Maybe I can look at, let's say, if I want to compare female and male, using that.
Fine. So what I'm gonna put these all in a new variables, okay? At the moment. So now you'll have the scale variables if you want to add them up. That's a good place to add. And then you have the, so what I'm saying is this, under variable calculator, okay, problems. Okay, this is a good place for a sum. Okay, and then based 1, 2. Okay. So now I'm creating a new variable called problems, and I can see, you know, maybe I should have, well, at least you know, you could look at things like number of problems by gender, for example. Do we know what that is? Do we know what the 1s and 2s are?
Sure. Gender. One was male and 2 was female.
Got it. Got it. I'm going to put that right in there. So now I can look to see. Well, in terms of, just to keep, I mean, this is a sidebar conversation, but you typically want big numbers of problems to be big, lots of big problems. I would have flipped it around, frankly. I would have had 2 be big because 2 is bigger than 1, and 1 be little problems. So the smaller the number, right? The smaller the number, the fewer the big problems. How are we going to do that? We're going to have to think about that for a second. It's not immediate, but maybe you have to keep them separate, okay?
Okay.
Big problems and little problems and look at them separately. So I'm not sure how much sense this makes right here, this calculation, okay? Because you got 2 different things going on there.
You're suggesting that a big problem should be 2 and then.
Well, as a rule of thumb, the more of something should have a bigger number.
Okay, I see the point.
Just basically speaking. That's one issue. The other issue is that I'm not sure that summing big problems and little problems, I could have there's lots of permutations of one big problem and a few small problems, or all small problem. So this is not clear to me what the hell that means. Um, so I'm not sure that this is a great example of that. So, all right, just another minute. What kinds of questions did you have? Research questions did you have here?
I only had one research question.
Awesome. What is it?
So generally, I asked, how do environmental factors influence access, inclusion, and sense of belonging for students with disabilities in Kenyan higher education institutions?
Okay. So, and what is an environmental factor? So, because we have this, that's a good number. Okay. Okay. So what factors influence this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just take a few of them. So, but we need some other, so here's COVID is one, and being bullied in school. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Maybe this is really a scale variable. Maybe that's just fine. But maybe being bullied in school, maybe this is really something different. Do you have any idea what these 1, 2s, and 3s mean?
Oh, okay. So that's why I was asking a question in the chat, because it had two scales. So one of the scales was 5 scales, strongly agree. And then the other scale was, the 3 scale was yes, no, or maybe.
Got it.
So,
Okay, so that's fine. So you would create a subscale out of these items, this one and whatever one there is. You would create a subscale based on those items, okay?
yes.
Just like we did for this, okay? So, but let's just take an environmental factor like having COVID and see if it impacts this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're gonna want to know what a 1 and a 10 mean. Again, I would suggest that high numbers mean high impact.
Okay.
Low numbers mean low impact, just to keep your head straight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay. Then you
Yeah.
don't have to go back and look at it and saying this convoluted explanation that low numbers mean high impact, and it's like it's confusing.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
so at the moment, I'll just assume that this is the way it is, which is high numbers, high impact, high numbers, high access. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go ahead and use that decision tree. So I want to restart and I want to predict an outcome. I want to see the impact of a scale variable, which through a linear regression, and I want to see if my access can be predicted. That's my dependent variable by my COVID. And you can scroll over these things. I'm not sure which one of these. I think it was before the bullying. I think it was right here. So that, for example, okay.
Uh-huh.
And if your school has, I don't know if these are, it's probably scale at the moment, but you need to walk through each of these things. But for the moment, let's just say that the scale COVID impact, belonging, okay? Access, inclusion, and belonging, okay? So to answer that question, but you would stack in as many something
Okay.
first. So the first thing we should do is run descriptives of the variables of interest. So in this particular case, we're looking at certainly the access and then the COVID. So let's just say, and whatever other variable. So you just want to run a quick descriptives on any variables you're going to be using because you want to make sure they look right. So access, goes from 1.33 to 5. That makes sense. We took an average of those 1 to 5s. And then how much COVID impact? About an 8. Okay, so just to see where that's at, it ranges from 1 to 10. If you had 1 to 100, what would that mean?
More impact?
100 means you made a data entry error.
Oh,
And that
okay.
is the reason why we want to run descriptives. Okay.
Okay.
You want to run them because if you see 100, okay, then you say, I have a data entry error. Now I can go back and look for the 100. That's why we want to run descriptives before we run the analyses. Always, always, always best practice, run descriptives. So then we're going to run that regression. Okay. And we'll put in the DV again, which is access. We're going to put in the independent variable. In this case, was just the COVID. Okay. And any other variables. And that's it. So not crazy about variable names with the whole question in there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
These can be tightened up. I mean, if you have a subscale, you're going to make a nice tight name. But here, you can get rid of this. There's a lot of this. Okay. So just heads up. So when we have that, we can see the regression. Again, the assumptions are built in. You can scroll over. That does not look great. I mean, this may not be your test, but just to know that you can scroll over the assumptions and say, we have a problem here, Houston. Okay, we have a problem. Other assumptions, scroll over. Outlier analyses. That's interesting. That looks too clean to me. Maybe because it's 1 to 5. Okay, okay, maybe that's right. Okay, so outlier analysis. The quick advice there is just because it is identified as an outlier, do not automatically remove these things. One, it might be a real person that just has a high score. Okay. Second, sometimes you play whack-a-mole, which is you delete that outlier and then another one comes up as the outlier. And now you're in an endless loop. So just heads up there. Okay, so for here's the results. The results of regression were significant. So, well, it's not the best in the whole world. So it is statistically significant. An EP less than 0.05 is significant. The R square is 0.04. That's really not impressive. What that means is, well, it's 0.4415. Out of all of the reasons why access, inclusion, and belonging varied, COVID only accounted for 4% of those reasons.
Oh, okay.
That's something, but you got 96% of the reasons that are not accounted for yet. But maybe when you start adding other variables, you'll boost that up, okay?
Uh-huh.
The last part, I'll do it, and I'm going to want to scoot to somebody else, give them an opportunity, is that there's an interpretation here, all right, that beta coefficient is negative. And basically, this is stating that when you increase the COVID impact in your life by 1 unit, it's decreasing your access.
Yes.
So just even to get that direction is important. And again, it's not a completely impressive number there, but just to know that the interpretation of these analyses are built in. And then you would just download this, okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then then you have it. So, and all of this is sitting in your project now, okay? But hopefully this and some of the things I talked about during the video, cleaning up the data is always a task. It's a normal task.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get everybody who says, because I can sit and, say, yuck, data cleaning. But it's a necessary evil that you have to have clean data or composite scores or and so forth, you have to have the data clean before you do anything with it. All right, Theo, we okay for the moment?
Yeah, I'm very okay. I really appreciate. Thank you.
Pleasure. My pleasure. All right. Do we have any other data sets, Melissa? Or questions? Maybe I should go to questions and answers.
There's one question in there, and then we do have a hand up, but Emmeline, did you share your data?
I thought I saw it and I thought I lost it. So the biggest challenge is setting up, so the biggest challenge is setting up specifiers as in factor analysis options within it, PCA versus other. So I am not a factor of Deb, can you hop on for a second? Raise your hand. I'm not sure I can answer your question, but I'll try.
I don't think he's in here anymore, but we do have
No
a hand
problem.
up, so I'm
Right,
gonna
no problem.
unmute Emmeline.
Okay, no problem. Emmeline. You can unmute yourself. Emmeline, do you want to unmute yourself or you just want to keep your ask to unmute? Okay, well, we can't really get her. So are there other questions? Stuff in the chat. Okay, so there's chat going on.
Hi, Eric, what's your question?
It's still kind of around that the variable piece. When I dropped in the two data sets, it seems like it's reversed the variables, showing the school model as a scale and the scores as nominal. And I thought it was supposed to be the other way around. And so just trying to figure out how to change that. When I did, based off the notes you gave it, then I had 4 variables in there. I wasn't able to delete the other one.
Okay,
So we'll get, did you share your project?
I thought I had. Let me go back.
Okay, what is your email address?
It would have come from Stony9095.
Stony nine. No, can you share it again, please?
James at Intellectus.
Intellectus360.com, I think should get us here. I hope.
Go back. It's in the chat.
I don't even know what account I'm in. Am I under Intellectus Statistics or Intellectus 360, Melissa?
you're in Intellective Statistics.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. All right, let me refresh. So, and as I said, data management is,
it's shared.
okay, cool. So let me refresh again. Voila. Accept. All right, so let's just talk about the variable that you're talking about here. Okay, so wait a second. What's going on here?
These are scores reported by the state. Obviously, the stars are no score reported. And then you can see the 1s and the 2s on the left. The 1 represents an elementary school. The 2 represents a middle school.
Okay.
And so really it's a t-test comparing average
Elementary and
proficiency
middle.
scores.
Got it. So we need to totally flip these things.
Yeah, it keeps denoted this way.
So from here, so we're gonna go to just click on this and you go to nominal.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, you only have middle. Where's the elementary?
Oh, did it not populate that? That makes sense.
So but that's what you want to do though. So I'm just gonna put it in there, okay? I'm gonna put in the same variable, and 2 we know is middle school, okay? All right. By the way, if you would have run descriptives on this, it would show you, oh, there's only 2s in there. Ah, so okay, so now we have middle school. So really, when you go to data management, all you're gonna do is just add rows, okay? Or just upload
Okay.
a data set, okay?
Okay,
All right, so, okay, so that's middle. And then here, you want not nominal, we want scale here. So I want to get rid of those 66. Okay,
yep,
I'm going to delete those. I'm going to delete first. Okay, then I have my other numbers here. I'm going to put that in the same variable. Replace. Okay, what's going on here? His
I was
log.
gonna try to
Oh,
add those
don't
other
log
two.
in.
Okay,
Yeah, okay. That's an interesting scale. Okay.
I was
So,
gonna drop them in real quick.
all right, so here, so again, I'm just gonna go to scale, delete, 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 and put it into the same variable. So now I have now I have the right school model, right? And then, but really, you just want to upload. You can upload the ones and twos, but then change them to nominal, and you can
Mhm.
upload the numbers, but the asterisk, any alphanumeric or strange character other than a number, an integer, it's going to come up as nominal. So that's why
Okay.
they're coming up differently. Okay,
Yep,
but you just change them by the procedure I just did.
okay,
All right. And then you can just run a t-test on that, right?
yeah, and that's where I was sharing, or you shared earlier, that the assumptions will just be ran automatically.
Yep.
And if it needs to use the Mann-Whitney afterwards because it doesn't
Yep.
meet the homogeneity, it'll just do it automatically.
Exactly.
Okay,
I would not be concerned about normality with sample sizes that large.
right,
I'm assuming, and rule of thumb is anything over 50.
correct.
Probably don't have to worry about it. You have 255 in one of the groups.
Yeah, they're both really high.
So
It's the whole state for us.
right on. All right. Faculty or student?
I'm a student, doing my doctoral work.
All right. Well, share with faculty. I say it to all students on this call. Please share it with faculty. Everyone's locked into SPSS or R, which is the worst thing in the world. But feel free to share that, hey, there's a tool that's has output that is very different than what's out there. All right. Are we cool for the moment?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. All right, who else?
I think we just have one outstanding question. If anyone else has questions before we wrap up, please put them in the Q&A.
Do you really need an intercept and regression model? That's a little beyond my quick answer is no. That I guess when we showed the I think it was here. I think when I think your question is do we need this? Do we need this intercept? So I would say probably not. I think they do report it. Okay, so for that reason, I'd probably keep it, but we certainly don't interpret that. But we do interpret that predictor with that beta, because that's significant. So, so that's the quick answer. All right. All right. Other final questions? Nope. My only request to you, well, certainly if you need help, hop on to the consulting. In a short period of time, we can help you. Definitely, if you're a faculty, happy to give you or your colleagues a demonstration. If you're a student, doc or otherwise, please share it with other faculty so they know that it even exists. Anyway, I thank you all for your attention, and hopefully this made some sense to you. And I look forward to seeing you next time. When is the next time, Melissa?
It's usually the first Thursday of every month. We just had it on a Friday this time, so it's gonna be on September 5th. And we'll send a link to register in the when we send the video recording, so you'll have
And you
that.
can share that link with others.
Yep.
Correct? Yep. Terrific. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Ashley. Everyone, thank you for your great questions, and I wish you all very well. Bye for now.